Hello, fantasy baseball fanatics. How you doing? Welcome to the Fantasy MD's Baseball Podcast. Today is Wednesday, May 18th, 2022. It's our 23rd episode. I'm your host, Dominic Martino, here as always with my brother, my co-host, Matthew Arne. Matt, how you doing today, my brother?
Long day, but I'm ready for this podcast. Let's hit this.
All right, my brother. So you know what? Let's just get into it. We're gonna start with the finger on the pulse as always, and we got a good one for you today. Somebody that we have not spoken about on the podcast yet, I don't think, and that's outfielder Taylor Ward of the Los Angeles Angels. And boy, oh boy, is this kid off to on fire this season, man. 28-year-old, as I said, outfielder for the Los Angeles Angels, Taylor Ward. So far 28 games on the season. 101 at bats. He's got 26 runs. He's got 5 doubles, 2 triples, 9 home runs, 23 RBIs, chipped in a steal, 21 walks to 26 strikeouts, and he's batting 376 on the year. And man, this kid looks legit. He's taken the league by storm. And well, I'm going to throw out something interesting there that I heard about Taylor Ward coming into the year. So Joe Madden, the manager of the Los Angeles Angels, I heard him come out and say that before the season, that when Taylor Ward is healthy, he's going to be getting a full-time role. And that was interesting to people when Joe Adell was going off in spring training, and they have Brandon Marsh, high-end prospect, who showed a little something at the end of last year. So I know everybody, even a lot of people in the fantasy community, are shaking their heads wondering why is he's saying this. Taylor Ward comes off the IL, gets consistent playing time, and now look at the numbers. So I guess Joe Madden knew a thing or two about a thing or two. So when he gets an endorsement by a guy like that, and he winds up putting up these kinds of numbers, I mean, I think that the sky is the limit. I think he's going to hit 30 plus bombs, have a lot of RBIs in that lineup with Ohtani and Trout, a lot of runs. Don't think he's going to really steal any bags, but I think he's going to hit for a good batting average too.
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit it right on the head. You know what? It's kind of crazy. I made the wrong decision. Like, you've chosen wrong, like Indiana Jones.
Yes.
I decided to kick up Marsh instead of Ward. I had a choice. This is before, Ward decided to just, blow up and become this monstrosity to hit the league. But I do think he kind of comes back to normal a little bit. I mean, I think this is super hyperinflated, but I think we still have this top end talent, top 50 player on our hands. We'll probably see him kind of come down to earth a little bit. But I mean, I definitely think you said it right. 30 bombs, a lot of ribbies, a lot of runs. And, that batting average obviously isn't going to stay 350, but I can still see him hitting like anywhere from 385 to 295. I think it's a fair range, fair expectation for him. And you know what? He's definitely not available, but if you're that lucky son of a gun that picked him up, good job.
Yeah, I'll tell you this. I was only lucky enough to get him in one league. Now, see, here's the thing. Everyone is probably wondering, as you said, maybe a 285 to 295 batting average could possibly be on the higher end of things, because he actually was a really, really good batting average guy in the minors. In 2021, he hit 393 in the minors, and that was across not too many at bats, 56 at bats, but actually here in 2019 across 421 at bats, he hit 306. So he could be a batting average guy. Hasn't really shown too much in the major league so far, but 28 years old is still a point where maybe he does, over the next few years show us, some really good numbers. So we did just want to bring up Taylor Ward here. We haven't really spoken about the guy too much on the podcast. Just want to give him a little nod of the cap, show the guy some love. Kid's been absolutely fantastic so far for fantasy owners that have picked him up. So we're going to keep it pushing here. We're going to get into the normal news and notes. And Matt, my brother, feel free to stop me at any point here. If you want to talk about anybody, feel free to just speak up and just chime in. So, because I'm going to just try and keep the flow here on the news and notes today.
Got you.
All right, so here to start, we're going to start with a big one, Jacob DeGrom. He has not pitched yet so far this season. Everyone was pretty high on him coming into the year after throwing out last year. So he looks like he's healing up with that scapula injury, and the test results came back from the other day. Everything came back pretty clean and looked really good, according to Mets general manager Billy Epler. And he still hasn't thrown off a mound yet, and it's just not really too sure exactly when he's gonna start doing some baseball stuff here. But I guess things look good for now, and I would just say, adjust accordingly. Just keep an eye on the situation. Acuna is back, but he DH'd. So they're probably going to take it easy with him, as Matt and I have pointed out. We've talked about Acuna a bunch here on the podcast, but we both love him. Top 5 player when healthy, if not even better. Tyler Stevenson's back at the catcher for the Cincinnati Reds. He's been house on fire. Somebody we did highlight right before he came off the IL. We told you guys to pick him up. I know I picked him up in all my leagues, and the kid's been a house on fire so far to start the season, and it looks like just more of the same is in store. And I'll say this, he's not really available anywhere, and I know he's on fire, so not going to really get him, but the kid's playing every day. He's DHing and, just juice the orange while the kid's doing all this. Bryce Harper is still out. He's not playing today as well. That's 3 games in a row. He got a PRP injection in that elbow, though. He's a little bit banged up there. He should be back sooner than later. I don't think he's going to hit the IL. It just looks like they're going to let him keep DH, and he's not going to play the outfield.
Yeah,
Clayton.
I heard some stuff on that too.
Go ahead, speak up.
So, being everybody, I do live in Philly, and I was talking to a couple of Philly fans and, listen to some Philly reports. And, the outlook isn't great. So we're hearing that he may be out for 8 weeks. That's the possible projection.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So at best case scenario, he may be doing DHing. But worst case scenario, they don't let him because they don't want him to throw. That's
yeah. He's been DHing. He's been DHing for the last 2 weeks. He hasn't thrown at all. He's been in that. He hasn't played the outfield.
But they're reassessing, and there may be a TJ talk. So that could be a real problem for him. So
guys. So keep an eye out for that one. That would be devastating for fantasy owners if Harper's going to miss some significant time there. We're going to keep it going here on the news and notes, though. After Harper, we got Clayton Kershaw. Actually, is another guy that's the news is not looking too great for. He's not going to throw that bullpen session. I believe it was tomorrow. So, keep your eyes out on that one. We don't have too much news besides he got the epidural the other day, and he was supposed to throw that bullpen session, and it's not going to happen. Starling Marte is on the bereavement list. Hearts are out to that guy. He's probably dealing with some heavy stuff right now. He's going to miss at least the next 3 games. Michael Kopech, on the other hand, is on the paternity list, so congratulations. A nice little flip-flop there. He's going to miss at least the next few games as well. Franmil Reyes is out with some family, personal issues. Not sure how deep that one goes, just listed as day-to-day, so adjust accordingly. Ketel Marte is at day-to-day. Sore left hand. We're not 100% sure how bad it is, but it's listed as day-to-day for right now.
He should be a drop already if you guys haven't.
Ooh, Matt. So let's actually, let's deep dive that, because that's actually a pretty interesting one. So you're thinking Ketel Marte is a drop at this point?
Yeah, I mean,
I want some info. I want some info on that. I'm sure the other fantasy owners do as well.
I mean, outside of the fact that he only carries value because he has a second base eligibility, he hasn't been hot. He had 1 good week last week, and this week he's really just meh. But the whole total season has just been, he's doing stupid Ketel Marte stuff where my phalange goes, I need crutches, I need this, I need that, my finger, mommy, take me to the nurse's office, kind of type stuff. But, I mean, he's just not playing well. And, he didn't play well last year. So, you know what? I'm washing my hands with him. He's gone.
Damn, I think JP is going to send you a big cup of haterade after that one. I will say
I have my cup. I take a giant sip.
So I'll go as far to say this. I'm not agreeing that he's a drop right now, but I'm not going out of my way to buy on him or anything like that personally.
I'm a sell if anything.
Yeah, I'll agree with you on that. I would be looking to sell if somebody, likes the name or this or that, wants to give you a little bit, 75 cents on the dollar for him. I take that right now. I will say that, it wasn't as high as some people on him coming into the year, but he's a good player when he's going, he gives you a little bit of batting average, maybe a little bit of pop. I just don't like the team either. Being on the Arizona Diamondbacks is not ideal for the kids. So, yeah, Matt, I'm not saying drop him, but I will say, look to sell him right now. Right now might be the time to sell him. He actually went 2 for 4 on the 16th, and then he went 2 for 2 on the 17th. So, maybe say, things are looking better, or, something along the lines of that. But otherwise, Ketel Marte outlook is not great on him.
Yep. I also got some breaking news here.
Go for it.
Chris Paddock is to have Tommy Johns. So that is not fun for Chris Paddock. Wish you the best.
That one. Yeah.
So
Yeah, that one stinks. Chris Paddock was actually off to a pretty damn good start here for the Minnesota Twins, and we thought maybe some things would be looking better for him this year. But best wishes to Chris Paddock with that. TJ, get well soon, and hopefully we could see him back here doing some vintage rookie Chris Paddock things.
please.
We'll keep it moving here with the news and notes, though. Willie Adames lands on the IL with the sprained left ankle. He has been just power, though, so far, which is actually surprising. I was kind of high on him. I'll take the L on that because I thought the batting average was going to be a lot better, and I kind of, was kind of pushing for him here and there. They actually did call up Keston Hira in a according move to that. I don't know, if he's been any good in the minors or not, but that's just a name to watch out for because, he has shown stuff in the past. Matt's boy here, Brandon Lau, stress reaction in the lower back. He's going to be reevaluated in 3 weeks. So it looks like he's at least going to miss a month because, if he's not being reevaluated until 3 weeks, he's going to probably need a week to ramp back up at least. So adjust accordingly there. Lucas Giolito is starting tonight, coming back from that COVID IL. Jordan Romano is day-to-day with a non-COVID related sickness. He should probably be back sooner than later. Our boy, Nick Lodolo, one of the podcast darlings, is not going to throw for the next week. It's just looking worse and worse for him at the moment. Matt, once again, sorry about this one, brother. I know this one upsets you because someone we actually wanted to highlight here today on the podcast, but Royce Lewis was sent back down to AAA in a corresponding move from, the Twins activating Carlos Correa on the IL. Let's actually talk about this one a little bit. I want to come out and say, I'm not as big of a Royce Lewis fan as my brother Matt here is, but that's just ridiculous. The kid was a house on fire. He was hitting over 300. He had 2 bombs, he was just doing it all. And I don't understand why. Maybe he's not capable of playing third base or any other position other than short. Maybe that's it defensively, but what's stopping them from putting him at DH and just, letting things adjust accordingly? The kid's an athlete. I'm sure he could have picked up third base or something like that.
Outfield.
I just don't think I don't think it's smart for left field. I don't think it's smart for a team that's, trying to win right now. They're winning. So I just don't think it's smart to take one of your best players and just, send them back down.
You know what? It's like a joke. I mean, it's like, come on. Usually the shortstop is your best athlete on the team, which means they could probably play any position on the field. So
that's the only reason I could think of. I can't think of any other reason they would send the kid down. I know we don't really mention other podcasts here, but I was listening to Sleeper and the Bust from the other day before he got sent down, and I know Justin Mason literally said there's no reason that they're going to send him down and that they should send him down. And I agreed. I'm like, yeah, there's no reason they should do this. And then Matt texted me this morning because, we wanted to highlight Royce Lewis today because he was going off. And that's like they sent him down. And I was like, no. And we both freaked out. It's crazy. That's a shame on the Minnesota Twins.
He legit hit a bomb last night.
Well, I can't think of any other reason besides they don't have any faith in him defensively anywhere else. But then again, even think, why not put him at DH?
Well, no, I don't even think it's that. I think we have a prima donna who makes like $80 bajillion who's constantly hurt anyway, who's not going to be there next year either. Like I just read a report today that people are saying there's no way Correa stays and he's going to use his option at the end of the year. And I mean, I could totally see that. He needs to go someplace else because I think Minnesota either has to do one thing, either try and keep him or trade Lewis because that's not fair to the kid. Usually what happens is when a prospect gets called up, they usually don't come out this hot unless your name is Chris Bryant.
Yeah, and especially the last 2 years. The last 2 years, we haven't seen a lot of that recently.
And the kid, first game, gets a hit. Second game, gets a hit. Third game, gets a hit. It finally gets his first home run. And by the way, his his second game, he just missed a home run. This kid has power, speed, average, and he's adjusting into the bigs. They are moronic for this. They should have found room. I don't even care. Look at Alec Boehm. He's terrible at third. Yeah. He's probably better.
He's playing a little better this year, but I get your point, Matt. I want to throw this out there. I know you're an owner of his, and I know you're holding right now. Are you going to continue to hold? What's the how far are we going here? Or let's say he's not up by June. Let's say my birthday, June 14th. If he's not up by then, he's still holding. You dropping?
I'm holding. I'm holding.
Okay. Yeah. See, my
I'm holding until like August. I don't care. It's like it could burn my bench spot. I'm not really worried.
When he gets the call, unless there's another injury, because it's like, why wouldn't they just make the room for him? Let's
might.
say this. Let's say, maybe he goes down to the minors and they put him at third base. Then I'd be more interested in say, okay, maybe they want to get him back out there. But if he just goes back down to the minors and he just plays shortstop, where are they putting him? Unless Correa gets hurt again, which he might. Don't get me wrong.
He probably
Correa's
will.
been injured. It's just I just don't know.
He has weak phalanges too. I mean, like,
no, yeah, he does. He does for sure.
He has freaking. He has glass ankles. Phalanges are just non-existent. And I mean, swear to God, him and Muatei share a suite up in the hospital. And they just high five each other all the time. Like, hey man, But I mean, like, that's one option. I mean, two, I would really like to see something of those reports. We know nothing at this point, but also too, like,
that's true.
He's at least worth holding until the trade deadline, because you don't know if they're going to make room for him to come up then. I mean, I don't know anything about Correa's contract, so I don't know.
Well, it's a 3-year. It's for 3 years, and
is there no
he
trade
has to
clause
opt out after every year. I'm not sure. I think there's no trade clause, but he can opt out after every year of these 3-year deals.
So one of two things can happen too. They could trade him if he exits for one because he plans to just leave anyway.
Yeah.
Or two, they make a trade and they decide to get him up there, or he comes back up next week. Like, I feel like we're gonna.
I'll say this: you gotta hold him for at least the next 2 weeks. But I'd say after that, if he's just my personal opinion, at least at minimum 2 weeks, and then at that point I'd reassess and I'd kind of go off news based. I'd see how Lewis is doing in the minors, and I would see if he's playing any other position down there, if they're going to try and get him into the lineup another way. Because if they're not, if the kid came up, hit over 300, 2 bombs, ribbies, and doing it all, and that's not enough, then what else does he have to do? But that's about enough on Royce Lewis. I think we gave the fans what they needed to hear, because I'm sure a lot of people are frustrated by this. I know it's not just us, Matt. So I think it is good that we gave them a little deep dive there. But to keep it pushing, we got another guy that's coming soon. Actually, instead of Royce Lewis leaving us, we got somebody coming in here. We got Shane Baz. Came up last year for the Tampa Bay Rays starting pitcher, and he really showed out last year, did Shane Baz. So he is set to begin his minor league rehab assignment this Thursday with AAA Durham. The plan is for him to, work 2 innings in the debut, and then he's going to build up from there. It looks like they're targeting around early June for him, and I mean, he's 68% owned on Yahoo, so if he's available in your league, now is the time to stash if it's not already a thing, or even go out there and throw a feeler trade, because I think this kid is going to be one of the big time pitchers over the next few years. I see him as a top 20 potential in the next 5 years, my opinion. Matt, any thoughts on Baz before I keep going?
I'm just kicking myself in the butt that I didn't include him in that big trade.
Oh yeah. Oh wow. We'll talk. All right, we'll talk about that off the podcast. We'll talk about that later. All right. So keep it moving. Tommy Edman is sore calf day to day. Just adjust accordingly. I'm sure he'll be back sooner than later. Matt, your boy Lance Lynn is supposed to face live hitters later this week. He is first eligible to be activated June 6th, and as of right now, today, it looks like he is on pace for that. Last news and note here: Salvador Perez is going to hit the IL with a sprained thumb, and a sprained thumb is a little tough. You hit those fingers. It's it can be a little tough coming into the swinging the bat when you first get back. You might still have a little bit of pain there. You might not play every single day, but to push it into the next half of the podcast, we're going to talk a couple ads, and that just brings us to MJ Melendez. Matt, another one of your boys. You want to take the lead there?
Yeah, I mean, you know what? It's funny. We end with Salvador Perez, and he's a catcher, and now we're going to give you a replacement. So it's
did that on purpose.
Yeah. Dom, sometimes you're just so spot on with your transitions here. But MJ Melendez is out of the Kansas City Royals farm system, another great talent out of there, and he's killing it so far. So he was playing a little bit more, but now he's splitting a little bit more time doing the average catcher thing where he's not playing every single day, but he's getting his at-bats.
He's going to play almost every day now.
Yeah. So Yeah. Oh, yeah. Even better. Salvador Perez
That's
is
the
gone.
point. Yeah.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner. I didn't even put two and two together.
Yes.
So I'm a little
Yes,
slow
sir.
today.
There you
So,
go, my brother.
oh, that just made my day because I got him everywhere. So the
Yes,
kid's
sir.
killing it. I mean, yeah, yesterday he got his first bomb. He's been getting some hits. He's doing his things, but he hasn't been able to get in a groove. But he did play like a good chunk in. I think when Sal was just like needing a couple of rest days,
Mm-hmm.
he was just chipping in some shots there. Now we get some rhythm. The kid's got some power. Kid's got a little steal potential. He's got average for sure. So you know what? Like, there's a lot of upside for this kid. I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, Matt, I'm gonna chime in here with you and just say that the sky is pretty much the limit for this kid. I know it's one of my favorite terms. That's a MD's trademark term over here. In the minors last year, MJ Melendez, catcher for the Kansas City Royals. I'm sorry, these numbers are just amazing. I'm just getting a little like overrun by these crazy numbers. MJ Melendez hit 288 across 124 games last year in the minors, 41 bombs, 103 RBIs, 3 steals. So it might chip in a couple, might not. I wouldn't bank on it. 95 runs in this Kansas City lineup. No, Kansas City hasn't been great so far, but the lineup is pretty good. I think they're only going to get better as the weather gets warmer, the ball starts flying a little bit more. And MJ Melendez, man, kid looks fantastic. He's off to a pretty good start so far this year, and okay. He hasn't, like Matt said, he hasn't had time to get his rhythm, but so far in the year, 233 batting average. He's got 2 ribbies. He's got a home run. He's hit a double. He's got 7 hits overall. He's got 2 runs. It's in 11 games. So I think, as my brother said, he's going to find his stride there. Matt, you got how much he's owned on Yahoo right in front of you, or
21%.
21% owned on Yahoo, guys. So go out there and I'd say add. Matt, let's do a little name game here because this is
Sure.
your boy, and it's getting time to really maybe drop some of these catchers. So give me a second while I pull up some of these highly owned catchers, and let's see where we're gonna draw the line at who we are cutting today for Mr. MJ Melendez. So Matt, are you getting rid of Gary Sanchez for him, who's
Hell yeah.
56% owned? Okay, so all right, we're gonna go a little higher. What about one of my boys? I mean, I've already cut him at this point, but what about Yasmani Grandal, 85% owned? Okay, let's go a little higher. I mean, not that you should drop this guy, but who do you like better going forward? Dalton Varsho, who is, let me read his numbers real quick. 95% owned. On the year, Dalton Varsho has 15 runs, 6 bombs, 16 RBIs, 3 steals, and he's hitting 246. I'm just going to say this, guys. Do not drop him. He's pretty good. I wouldn't go out there and cut him. But, Matt, who do you like better going forward?
Well, I mean, I'm going to take the production because also, too, Varsho has first base eligibility. No, outfield eligibility.
Catcher and outfield, yes.
Yeah. So he's going to play every day. So that's the difference between Melendez. He's going to get off days just like any catcher. He doesn't even have the first base eligibility like Perez was doing. So you know what? That's the only downside. So that's where I kind of draw the line. I'm not dropping him, but you know what? The sexiness.
If you got room on your roster, I might try and make them, have a double catcher situation there. It might be worthy.
At that point, it's a waste of space for me.
Okay.
You know what? Unless you're in like a 15-man league or like an NFBC league where you need the constant, a player playing every single moment, then that's where I'd scoop him up. But outside of that, I'm not even worrying about it.
Yeah, so I'll agree with you there, my brother. You know what? Maybe not. Maybe hold Varsho, and you could leave MJ for somebody else. But I will say this: there's not many other catchers out there that you even having this discussion with. It's maybe Will Smith is Will Smith's a little bit better. Wilson Contreras is having a pretty good year, and Tyler Stevenson. But everybody else, man, it's just that I think I'm taking MJ over almost everybody else at this point. Maybe you put Travis d'Arnaud over him, but if you got any other catcher right now, you probably want to go out there and grab this kid. He led his personal league in home runs last year. It's just kid's going to be MJ Melendez, catcher. Kansas City Royals going to be absolutely great this year for fantasy. Next guy we got up here that we want to talk about. Let's talk about Santiago Espinal. Man, he's been looking pretty good recently. I'm gonna pull up his numbers here for you. Santiago Espinal. Matt, any thoughts on the kid here? Because I actually thought I had his info up here, but I do
Espinal.
not. Give me a second.
You're saying it like espionage. It's pretty funny.
Let
It's
me pull him
Espinal.
up here.
But I mean, he's doing pretty good. I mean, he doesn't really hit
Jesus.
home
I
runs.
think we lost connection.
Oh well, he thinks he lost connection. This is one of those bad iPhone moments. But anyway,
Are you? I think we're back. Are you there, Matt?
yeah, I've been there. We're good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
forgive
I
us,
didn't lose you.
guys.
I
Yeah,
didn't lose you, so we're chilling. Anyway,
okay.
so he last week was pretty good. He got like 3 runs, no bombs, a ribby, but he batted 350. Week before that, he had 3 and 3, batted 342. The last month he's going 11-2, 11-1, 291. You know what? At second base with the third base Flipperooski there, I'm gonna be at least somewhat enticed to add him, especially on my off days for my guys. I mean, you're talking about guys that have been going down. You got some replacements, so you know what? I'd pick him up. I guess he can't hear me.
Yeah, I'm a fan here, man. I'll say this. Santiago Espinal of the Toronto Blue Jays on a 10-game hitting streak right now. He's got second base and third base eligibility on Yahoo, 25% owned, and he's just looked really good so far. That lineup is, pretty good. I think they're only going to get better. 27 years old. He's pretty young. So far in the year, 2 bombs, 3 steals, 282, 15 RBIs, 13 runs. Last year, he had 311 across 92 games. So it looks like he got a little batting average. That he also had 6 steals. So, he's pretty quick on his feet. I say if you need a second base or a third baseman, you go up there and you get him right now and you juice the orange. He might not be there at the end for you, but you know what? Might be there for the next few weeks. So that's enough on him. Matt, let's talk about your boy Christian Walker. I know that was somebody that you wanted to talk about today.
Yeah, I feel like everybody and their mother's talking about him today, but I'm gonna say he's definitely worth it because he's doing what he's
I don't
doing.
know. I think my internet keeps going in and out over here.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with him, but I'm gonna still speak about him. So he's kind of killing it right now. I'm gonna say one thing. He's
Yeah, it keeps going. My internet is not good right now.
but I'm gonna finish my thought. So he hit 5 runs, 3 bombs, 5 ribbies, and batting 333. And this was last week. He's killing. He's taking a step little forward. You can kind of ride the wave with the kid and kind of just have a nice little pickup. He's first base eligibility. First base hasn't been so great this year. So you know what? If you're slipping on that, I'm gonna say you know what? He's probably worth it. He's 17% owned too. So at least take the shot. And you know what? Utilities kind of hitting hard. I mean, you saw how many injuries we were always rattling off. It's almost like the most depressing part of our show is the news. So
Yeah, you're right. You're right with that.
So I mean, you might as well take the production while you can.
Yeah, I'm gonna chime in here if my internet allows me to.
It's allowing you.
I like the power on Christian Walker. He's got 9 bombs so far in the year. He hit 29 bombs back in 2019. He has a pretty good track record in the minors of power. He's 31 years old, so I mean he's not getting any younger. I'm really not going to expect anything different than he's shown so far in his career, and he's shown power. So if you need a power hitting first baseman that's hitting fourth in their lineup, that's going to trip in some RBIs, go out there and get Christian Walker. So we'll keep it pushing though. Let's talk about last bat here we got for the day, and that's Tyler Naquin, somebody that I'm sure if you've been playing fantasy the last few years, a guy that's been relevant here and there, and once again a little bit relevant this year. On the year he's got 14 runs, he's got 3 bombs, 20 RBIs, 3 steals, hitting 257, but he's been a little bit better of recently. Went 2 for 4 on May 17th with a home run and a steal, which is always helpful. A couple days before that, he went 3 for 4. So he's been on a little bit of a hot stretch here recently. The Cincinnati Reds got a good ballpark to hit in. They may not be a great team, but once again, we're trying to cover all the bases this year. We threw a catcher at you. We threw a second, third baseman at you. We threw a first baseman at you. Tyler Naquin's the outfielder for today. So you know what? We're recommending him if you need an outfielder for right now. Go out and snag him. Only 9% owned on Yahoo. You could probably do worse than Tyler Naquin right now. Somebody who did have a decent year last year as well.
Yeah, he had a nice little April. He reminds me a lot of Adrian Gonzalez. Like always called him Mr. April. So, he always gets off
Yes.
into a nice little hot start in the beginning of the season where everybody's kind of a little bit slower off the line there, but then he kind of always falls back in. But he's definitely somebody, whenever he starts getting hot, I always want a piece of that wave. That's when I go and get the surfboard and I kind of chill with it.
Yes, sir.
Last year he won me a couple of weeks outright just because he was just murdering people last year. So I think I don't know if we're going to see that kind of level of production where he was like the number one player in fantasy last year for the whole month of April. But what I think we think we're going to do is at least get a nice little jump in power and a nice little jump in average, because once he's hot, he's hot. And yeah, but I think we should just move on to the arms, and we're going to just start off with our first player here. Yep. So we're going to talk about Rich Hill here of the, Boston Red Sox.
Yeah, a new member of the Boston Red Sox. I think Rich Hill's played for every team in Major League Baseball so far.
Yeah, for real. You know what? But he's always been like somebody that you can kind of always count on. He's always like a reliable arm, funny enough. So, I mean, and here we go, reliable again. He's doing it again. I mean, his last start was great. 6 innings, got the W, 4 Ks, 3 ERA, 117 whip. On the season, he's got 1 W, but I mean, Boston just hasn't been hot. But 21 Ks, 28 innings, a 2.89 ERA with a 111 whip. That's solid, especially somebody you're going to scoop off the waiver wire, and he's 11% owned. Now, this is where you kind of have like I struck some gold here, and somebody that's going to be reliable, somebody to spot start, somebody that's going to get me a little extra counting stats, has that opportunity to keep my ERA down, chip in a couple of Ks for me, keep the whip down, and when Boston decides to figure it out, which I hope is never,
same.
I
second that.
We'll get some W's, and he's just a good pitcher. He's all reliable.
Yeah, man, I'm agreeing with everything you said there. You know what I just can't believe he's 42 years old, Rich Hill, and he's still getting it done. I actually want to point out something interesting. Now I'm on his Baseball Reference, and that list is longer than the Constitution. It's just a lot of stats there for you to look at, right? So I'm just pinpointing from 2014 to 2022 for Rich Hill. So that's 8 years there. And he's made in that time 131 starts, but he's played 149 games. So a couple games out of the bullpen here for Rich Hill over those years. He's had a 3.14 ERA across that time, 697 innings, 764 strikeouts, and the whip is 110 over that time. So if you just want to wonder what you're going to get when the guy's healthy, he's lights out. He's a great pitcher, so you don't really question it. And he's got Seattle coming up on the schedule here on May 19th. So they've been a little up and down, even though I got the game on now, and they had Kevin Gausman on the ropes, and I mean they didn't get to him, but they had him on the ropes. So Seattle can be dangerous in spots. But I think Rich Hill, against Seattle, I'd throw him out there. 11% owned on Yahoo. You throw him out there and you see what happens. That's a guy I'm definitely comfortable seeing, what happens with over the next couple of weeks. Maybe he's on your roster until he gets hurt, because he's not going to give you a full year. So going on, I kind of want to talk about one of the guys. I got to admit I was wrong here on something, but I'm going to kind of point you guys in another direction. So I've been one of the Max Meyer guys. What's up?
I said, thank God I'm recording this.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. So I'll admit I was the Max Meyer guy, and things aren't really looking so great. He gave up 8 runs yesterday, and the start before that he gave up 6 runs. So it doesn't look like Max Meyer, and starting pitcher of the Miami Marlins, is getting the call anytime soon. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to say, guys, go out there and drop him. But I am going to recommend somebody for you to go out there and pick up now. Go out there and pick up Grayson Rodriguez. Number 1 pitching prospect of the Baltimore Orioles and of the MLB as a whole. The kid was outrageous yesterday. 5.1 innings, 11 Ks for AAA Norfolk. I mean, kid's outlandish. He threw a bunch of pitches over 99 miles an hour. There's a reason why he's the number 1 pitching prospect in all of baseball. 20% owned. So if you did own Max Meyer, Grayson Rodriguez is still out there to go and get, and I think he's going to get the call over maybe the next couple of weeks here. I think they might want to see one more good start from him before they officially give him the call. They also got catcher Adley Rutschman down there. If he's available in your league, he's going to be up soon as well. If you're not an MJ Melendez guy, maybe you want to go Adley. But I think the two of them are going to come up hand in hand for Baltimore, and they're going to be forced to be reckoned with in that AL East for at least like the next 10 years. Those guys are just going to be very, very good. Once again, that's Grayson Rodriguez, starting pitcher, Baltimore Orioles, number 1 pitching prospect of baseball. There's a reason.
Yeah, Dom loves to follow his own advice, especially a couple days early. Scooped him up right from under me. He's been the one prospect I've been waiting for outside of Royce Lewis this year that has truly been like one of my high-end high hopes that I get him on my team. So he could be another situation where we have another Gilly on our hands, where somebody that just kind of has an instant translation over into the bigs here. He's got some wonderful stuff. He's not just like a two pitch kind of guy. And his stuff is just electric. The movement, the spin, it's just so you know what? Scoop him up, listen to your boy here, and unfortunately I'm not one of them.
Yeah, I mean, there's somebody that you probably want to go out there and get now before he comes up here and makes a lot of noise. I will preface this. The AL East is a very tough division. You got the Yankees, you got the Blue Jays, you got Tampa, a lot of good teams in that division. And, him coming up, he might have little bumps and bruises along the way. But I think long term, the stuff is going to play. And look at a guy, I'll give you an example. Alek Manoah came up in the same division. And, I know he does play for Toronto, so he doesn't have to face one of those really good teams. But, he still came up in a translator. He pitches very well against the Yankees. He pitches, well against Tampa. So maybe Grayson comes up and has the same luck, but I'm changing my stash there, and I think you guys should probably do the same as well. Our next guy here that we're going to talk about, let's go for Brady Singer. That's a guy we haven't talked about on the podcast yet. That's the Kansas City Royals young starting pitching prospect. He has been up a little bit here, a little bit there. Hasn't really shown us everything that he's capable of yet. But I think there's a chance here that this year is going to be maybe the year for the kid. He's 25 years old. So far on the year, Brady Singer is the 2.84 ERA, only one start, 4 games as a whole though, 12.2 innings, 15 Ks, an 0.94 whip. Kid looks pretty good so far. I think you give him a chance, maybe not as good as Rich Hill or Grayson Rodriguez potentially is, but he's 6% owned on Yahoo, and starting pitcher is a wasteland right now in some places. And that last start, just that one start he does have was outrageous against the Chicago White Sox on May 17th. Brady Singer went out there and threw 7 innings, got the win, 9 strikeouts, didn't give up a run, and he had a 0.57 whip in that one. So I'm comfortable recommending him. I think he lines up for his next start either against the Twins this weekend or the Diamondbacks. What's up, my brother?
They sent him back down just now.
Did they?
Yep.
Oh, wow. Damn. Well, there goes that one, guys. Sorry about that. That's not fun.
Yeah, sorry. Breaking news.
Yeah, that one's breaking, guys. We're sorry about that one. That one stinks. The kid was electric in his last start. I will say this, we'll move on to our next guy. But look for him to come back up this year and potentially get another shot at the rotation. So we'll go over to the other guy that we'll rant about. Matt, I'll let you take this one. Let's talk about Michael Lorenzen, somebody we have spoke about on the pod before.
Yeah, Lorenz is somebody that has been doing some good production for somebody you're going to scoop off of the waiver wire. It's funny, he's 2 players on Yahoo. He's a pitcher and a bat.
Yeah, he used to hit a little bit. I think he's just focusing on pitching now, though.
Which is probably good. Not everybody can be Ohtani, but
yeah, that's true.
You know what? He has the skill. So he showed it off his last start, which was May 14th against Oakland. He got the W, 3 Ks, 1.29 ERA, and an 8.6 whip. But on the year, it's still pretty good. He got 4 wins, 24 Ks, 3.57 ERA with a 1.10 whip, and he pitched 35 innings. So he's not really a K per 9 or a strikeout guy, but you know what? Those are reliable numbers. He's going to get hit against a good team, most likely. He's still young.
Yes.
But at the same time, he still has that opportunity to give you some production. And there's a lot of veterans and a very good team behind him, where he's going to be up in games where the pressure is not going to really be on him. So I think that he's going to succeed on there. I don't know if he's going to be like a long-term solution, but he's going to be somebody you can stream in and out.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I'm a big Michael Lorenzen guy. I've been streaming him, here and there so far this year when I see fit. And I had him for that one game. I forget who it was against, but he threw like 8.2 innings and almost, had a shutout until he got hit at the end of that game. And he looked good in his last outing. I think as you pointed out there, 7-inning outing there. And he has longevity. He throws really long into games, and I like that. It would helps your ERA a lot, helps your whip a lot. He's not a big strikeout guy, but in other categories, he's definitely going to help you. Only 31% owned on Yahoo. Looks like he gets Oakland again on May 21st. That was who he went out and dominated in his last outing. So I feel free to, I feel safe to stream him on May 21st. If you need him, go out there and get Michael Lorenzen, starting pitcher for the Los Angeles Angels if you need him. Let's move into some closers here. I'm going to preface this. I don't think any of these guys are long-term solutions, but I do think these are guys that you need to pay attention to and see what happens over the next couple of weeks, month, and maybe these guys do get a shot at being the long-term closer eventually, but I don't think any of them are answers right now. So let's start with Adam Simber of the Toronto Blue Jays. With Jordan Romano being a little bit under the weather, he's showed out, got himself a couple saves here, back-to-back saves on May 16th and May 17th for Adam Simber. On the year, he's got 4 wins, a 2.20 ERA, an 0.8 WHIP, 3 saves, 16 innings, 11 Ks, and he just looks pretty good so far. I'll say this. I know it was funny because I went to go look, and he was already owned in a couple of my leagues, and I was like, wow, people are on this guy already, huh? So, I'll say this. If you need some wins, some good numbers out of your bullpen, and a guy that's going to chip in the occasional save, because I think Romano is obviously that guy when healthy, Adam Simber is not bad. You can go out there and you throw him in on your bench in deeper leagues, and maybe get yourself a couple saves, some good numbers there.
Yeah, hey, it's Toronto. There's going to be opportunities. So just roll with it and just scoop them up, especially if you're the Romano owner. I think it would behoove of you to do so. But let's talk about the next guy, Alexis Diaz, the closer as of right now for the Cincinnati Reds. At least he got the opportunity. So he's had a little nice action. He had 3 Ks in it, so complete shutout on that inning, doing pretty good for himself. I don't know if he's going to be the permanent solution there, but as of right now, it's looking that way for short term. I'm not really super high or go get him, but it's worth a shot. Closer's so finicky. In my one league, I didn't even have an opportunity to really have somebody that ended up keeping their job. So you know what, he is a stream candidate for me in that league. So you know what, you're probably going to be in the same scenario.
Yeah, I'll say this, a little interesting stat there, a little interesting fact about Alexis Diaz. That's actually Edwin Diaz's brother, closer of the New York Mets. So, I guess it runs in the family. But, the Reds aren't really good so far this year. They only got 10 wins, so they're not going to come by a lot of save chances. So we really don't even know who the official closer is over there. But, he's got the last one. Like Matt said, he struck out the side in his last outing, got the save. 4% owned on Yahoo. So, if you're hurting for a closer, go out there and give the kid the edge. That's what we're doing here on the MDs. We're just trying to give you guys options and throw out some names that could potentially be helpful for your lineup. They may not always be long-term solutions, but hey, juice the orange. If you don't have a closer and you could pick up a couple of guys, every week and just keep it moving, by all means. That method works sometimes. I know for me personally, I never go into a draft saying I need high-end closers, and I do pretty well in fantasy. So I think you could adjust accordingly going forward. I'll say this. Our next guy here is Hansel Robles of the Boston Red Sox, and it's just been up and down with the Red Sox as far as closers go. We don't really know who's doing what, but, it looks like Hansel Robles has got the last one here for Boston. He's got really great numbers on the year. He's got a 2.51 ERA, a 1.05 WHIP, 2 saves, 14 innings, and 10 Ks. He's closed here and there before. As I said, got the last one here for Boston, 7% owned on Yahoo. If you give him the shot, I probably would go Alexis Diaz first, Simber second, and Hansel Robles third here so far of guys that we have talked about. Matt, any thoughts on Robles?
No, I think you pretty much covered it. We'll see what happens with him. But let's roll into the next guy, and that's Mr. Wick.
Rowan Wick.
Rowan Wick. So he's gotten the last 3 saves for the Chicago Cubs, and that's pretty great. But I do know that Robertson has been on the COVID IL. He is now back.
They activated him today. Yeah,
right.
What's funny? I just saw that like 2 minutes ago.
But we don't know if Robertson's actually got the job.
Yeah.
So the fact that he was able to hold it down and really show up, they may make that a committee. So he may have some upside. So I would just keep an eye on him. He's not really a pickup, but he's somebody that, hey, Robertson goes down, or if you see he gets another save opportunity over Robertson, then I'm scooping him up and I'm going to see what happens.
Yeah, man, I'm agreeing with exactly what you said. I have David Robertson in a few different leagues, and he was a big pickup for me at the beginning of the year. And I've held so far. I will say that I did manage to hold up until this point. But as Matt said, I want to see what happens here. If David Robertson does not get the next save opportunity, I think I'm going to be dropping. Not necessarily for Rowan Wick, but if Rowan Wick keeps up the the good works like he has so far in the year, it might be him. Out of everybody we spoke about, he might be at the bottom for me personally. But you know what, man? In a time where closers are getting hurt and coming and going, hey, you could add Rowan Wick if you need the saves right now. I wouldn't not be opposed to it. Now, real quick, out of all the closers we spoke about, real quick, you want to rank up for me before we wrap up?
Yeah, I'm
We
probably
got
gonna,
Simber, Diaz, Robles, and Wick.
so I'm probably just gonna go Simberg. It's the only one I really want.
Okay,
If Wick
okay.
still had the job, if Robertson didn't get called up, it would have been Wick because Wick has been showing out.
Yeah,
The
he
other
has been. He has been.
the other two are completely unclear as to what's going to be their future. Nor am I actually like a real fan of the talent, but they're just somebody that the reason why we're bringing them up is to bring them to your attention so that you can keep an eye on if you need the saves, you need to stream something out. Other than that, it is what it is.
Yeah, you're spot on, my brother. It's a wasteland right now, and these guys are just like I said, they're just plugging holes. It's not a long-term solution. They're not the get out the spackle and do the whole job properly. They're just plug it right now with these guys. But on that note, we're gonna wrap it up here with Fantasy MDs for the week. We will see you guys next week. Real quick, just want to say if you like what you're hearing and you want to give us some support, we appreciate if you go out on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, give us a 5-star rating and write a little review. It doesn't have to be anything too long, but it goes a long way into getting our reach a little bit further. If you like what you hear, really, it would mean a lot to us. But other than that, just the usual, like us on Instagram and, YouTube and everywhere else you possibly can. So until next week, guys,
Peace.
out. See you.